one step at a time. You want to have a good legal structure in place so that if somebody decides to sue you for falling down the steps that they didn't shovel, they're not going to get much out of it. It's very, very important that you have your legal structure in place so that when things arise, you're safe, you're protected. You want to make sure that your family, your house, your car is untouchable, and that's very important. You need to do that first before you go buying things and wheeling and dealing. So our next speaker today, he is the founder of Cultura Law. He's a local real estate attorney, and he can answer a lot of good questions in the legal world of real estate. So let's have a nice warm round of applause for Abraham Cepeda.
How's everybody doing today?
What's up?
So this presentation will not be as exciting as George's, unfortunately, mainly because we're going to talk about some boring things. We're going to talk about protecting your business. By the way, I'm Abraham Cepeda, like he said. I'm a local attorney. I also own a title company, so I'll be talking to you later about title work. And I've been a business man since I was 14. I sold my first car at 15, and it's all been history since then. We're going to be talking today a little bit about your business structure. Everything in life is about having a good structure, about laying a good foundation. So if you want to make money, if you want to be successful, whether it's that you want to travel, whether you want to spend more time with your family, you want to make sure that whatever you do, you lay a good foundation so that your assets are protected. Because things will go wrong. In business, things go wrong. They can break, someone can get hurt. You can be in a construction zone and a 2x4 falls on someone, and you want to make sure that your personal assets are better and they are safe and they're not being touched by your business liabilities. So one of the things that we want to start today, we're going to talk about how you should set up your business so that you can protect your personal assets and so that you can move that business, scale that business, and grow to where you want to be in life. Now, part of that is going to be about what you want. Like George said when you asked him the question earlier, what are your goals? Your goals are going to determine what you need to do. Everyone isn't the same. Everyone can't have the same blanket excuse or the same blanket formula to how they're going to move their business forward. Everyone's going to have to do it a little different depending on what your goals are. If you want just to make enough income so you can stay home and relax, you're going to have to set up your business a certain way. If you want to set your business so that you can scale, attract investors, you're going to want to set it a different way. If your business is investing versus your business being a real estate agent, you're probably going to want to set that up a different way, and that's why you're going to want to have someone tailor a consultation on your business enterprise to how you should do your business for your goals, and that's going to be really important. But no matter what business you are doing, you should protect your business and protect your personal life from your business, so you don't want to have a sole proprietorship. And that's something that we all want to do. If you ever start a business, the little kids with the lemonade stand, they're doing sole proprietorship. You just, one day you get up and you're like, I'm going to start selling something today, and boom, you have a sole proprietor. It's easy to start, it's easy to manage, but it's hard on your personal liabilities, because if something happens, if someone gets sick off that lemonade stand, they're going to sue you, and your house can be attached, your kid's college fund can be attached, your 401k can be attached, and then you can lose all of your personal assets for something that happened in your business. And that's why we always want to create an entity that's going to protect you, it's going to insulate you. So the way the laws work here in the U.S., a lot of the different entities are going to step in your place. They're going to be like a different person if you just had a child. And this person is going to take all of the BS that could come from your business, because they can't touch you as long as you maintain certain formalities. So when you talk about this, everyone first goes to the LLC, and they're like, you should get an LLC. And a lot of times that's true. A lot of times that would be the best entity for you, but it's not always the case. The good thing about an LLC is an LLC, you can create it quickly. It's not going to cost you a ton of money to create an LLC. You can protect your personal liabilities because they have that limited liability. So if something happens with your LLC, they can't touch your house, they can't touch your car, they can't touch the money that you have in your personal bank account. So that's why a lot of people like it, because you can protect your assets and you can avoid the double taxation that sometimes happens with corporate entities, and we'll go into that in a little bit. So you only pay taxes once. The company doesn't pay taxes. You pay taxes on the money that you make off the company. So that's why an LLC is oftentimes flexible and fast, and people like to use an LLC. but that's not always what you're gonna wanna use. And we're gonna talk today about a couple different entities that you can use to protect your assets and to set up your company, and that'll be coming up in a second. But you definitely wanna make sure that whatever you do, you sit down, you analyze what you're doing, and that you start your business off on the right footing, because that's gonna determine how your business goes throughout the life of the business. A lot of businesses fail first 2 years, first 5 years, and a lot of that time, that reason is because they have not set their company up correctly. So we're gonna talk a little bit about general partnerships, limited partnerships, C corporations, and S corporation. None of that's exciting stuff, but at the very least, it's gonna get you a basic understanding of why you might want to choose some of these entities and some of the ones that you kind of want to stay away from unless you're doing some kind of backflips. So, and that'll be for some other time. There's certain times where some of these that look bad, you definitely want to use them for certain types of businesses, and you know, later on we might get into that. So we're going to start with the general partnership. So a general partnership is basically two people get together and we say we want to start a business, we want to start running a business together. Let's get it. You don't really have to file any paperwork for this, so it's kind of like the LLC. I mean, it's kind of like a sole proprietorship in that you don't have to do anything, but you do want to get a partnership agreement drafted, because the way the law works with partnerships, whatever is in your partnership agreement is how that company gets run. So me and Jamie might want to start a company, but 2 years later, Jamie might not like what I'm doing. I might not like what Jamie's doing. Conflicts are going to arise. And unless you have a partnership agreement that lays out how you're going to be able to handle those conflicts, who gets to decide what dollar amount can someone make without consulting the other partner, how money's going to be distributed, when money's going to be distributed. If you don't have something that's going to set that up, then that argument is going to end up with you paying someone like me a lot of money to argue that for you in court against your partner, who's also going to be paying a lot of money to argue that in court, and no one's going to win.
The attorneys are going to win.
That's the way you set it up. But you're definitely never going to get exactly what you want in court. Someone's always going to lose a little bit, someone's always going to win a little bit. So a partnership agreement is great because for a small price up front, you're laying out everything. So when you do have that argument, when Jamie comes to me and it's like, hey, you couldn't have done that move without consulting me, I could pull up the partnership agreement and be like, yo, page 4, Bobby. I can do that. Don't worry about it, that's why I'm here. So that's one of the reasons you want to have a partnership agreement. But you got to be careful with partnerships because partnerships do not protect your personal assets. If you're starting the partnership as a person, so if you're starting the partnership as a person, me and Jamie get together, we say we're going to do this partnership. Both of our personal assets are at risk. Jamie's house is at risk. His house is nicer than my house, so he's more worried about it than I am. But definitely all your stuff is still at risk. But you can stop that if you create this and you create, let's say you create an LLC or you have a corporation and that corporation enters into a partnership with someone else's corporation. Now you guys have all the flexibility of a partnership and none of the liability of that partnership because who's actually owning that investment is your corporation. That's something that we're talking about doing some backflips. That's sometimes when a general partnership might be good because you go in on an investment together. So we'll be doing a house and he'll say we're gonna go buy this house, we're gonna flip it, and we'll do it by both of our companies, and then none of us have any liability, and we still get to enjoy the benefits of a partnership. So that's something you might want to think about. And that's gonna lead us to the next part. Because we don't like partnerships due to the fact that they don't limit your liability, depending on whether you're an investor, I don't know who here is an investor, who's a real estate agent, but if you're an investor, sometimes limited partnership might be something to look into. Depending on what state you are, there are going to be some issues on who can start a limited partnership. I know in New York it can only be some professionals, but in other places it's more loose. Here in Pennsylvania it's a little bit more loose. And you can start a limited partnership. What's great about a limited partnership is one person is a general partner, which, like we said in the general partnership, your liability, you're still liable. But in the limited partnership, and this is always good when you have silent investors, people who are going to give you money for you to run the business for you. And they get limited partnership status. And because they get limited partnership status, it's like they're only liable to their investment. They gave you $100,000, that's all they can lose. Nothing can be attached to their other assets, nothing can be attached to their other investments. They're clean, as long as they don't get into the running of the company every day. So you, the general partner, you have all the power, you can make all the rules, you run everything, you're the one managing the business day to day. You're just giving this person reports and giving them their money, and you have all the liability, but you also have all the control over this company. And that's something that you might want to do depending on how you're financing your structure. So if you're running a company that's holding a lot of properties, or you're running a company that's flipping a lot of properties, and you have somebody who's your financial backer, you might look into something like limited partnership, where that financial backer is getting some of the benefits of limiting their liability, but they're also part of that business. They can go in, they can make handshakes, open certain doors, they can do certain things to help you out with that. And then, now that we're out, we'll get out of the partnership status because, and this is all on the slides that you have, so I'm not gonna go through all the wording on it, because we'll be here for tomorrow, but we're gonna move on to the corporations now. So the corporations are really what stand in as a separate entity for you. So this is like, you just had a kid, you know? You just made this new life form that's a corporation, and we've seen it argued up to the Supreme Court now, and they treat them like they're human. So what does that mean? It means that the corporation does everything themselves, and you're just a shareholder of that corporation. As a shareholder, you're only liable for how much money you bought in your shares. You have share of Apple, right, Vlad?
Yeah, I do own some shares, yeah.
So Vlad, if Apple has something wrong happens with Apple, someone dies in a self-driving car, Vlad's house isn't up for sale. And it's the same thing if you're doing your real estate business. If you're a shareholder to a company, something goes wrong with the company, that doesn't mean your personal assets are liable. Now, corporations, especially C corporations, we normally use it if you have a business where you want to scale, where you want to say, okay, I want to have to attract a lot of people to give me money, maybe at different times, maybe for different payouts, and I'm going to want them to be part of this corporation. So you would start something like a C corporation. It's a little costly to maintain. There's a lot of formalities that go in with it. There's a lot of paperwork you need to do. You need to have bylaws drafted. You need to do a lot of things for that. But the great thing about a corporation is that it completely insulates you and it allows you to raise a lot of money fast. And it's ongoing. So if you die, the corporation continues to go. They hire somebody else to be CEO. They make a nice plaque of you in one of the buildings, and they keep it moving, and the money keeps rolling. So a corporation is something that's for a company that might be a little bit more long-term. Now, it has some bad things, and this is why we don't always tell people, especially in smaller businesses, to get a corporation, and that's because the corporation has what we call double taxation. So because this is a new human being, and they're their own person, they have to pay taxes. So the way I always tell them is like, the company made $100,000 in profit, right? And I maybe owe 40% of the shares of that company. So that company's gonna have to pay $100,000, gonna have to be taxed on $100,000 first. Then from whatever's left, I'm gonna get my 40%. I get my 40%, I now have to pay taxes on my 40%. So I had to pay taxes twice. If you're running a corporation, you're the only person in that corporation, if there's only two of you, it doesn't really make sense. Because now we're paying the government once on 100%, then we're paying the government again on the 40%, and why is the government getting so much of our money when that money could be going to buying a race car? So you definitely want to think about what is right for your position. Now, when you're talking about you have to raise a ton of money and you have a lot of shareholders, then it doesn't really matter because that company's going to pay that, they're going to pay off to the shareholders, and you're building so much capital that a corporation makes sense. Now we're going to talk about a different corporation, and we'll have time for questions at the end on these different entities. The other corporation is still a corporation because there's no such thing as actually an S Corp as a separate entity. The C Corp and the S Corp are just designations on how you want your corporation to be. But they all start off with the same paperwork. It's just a tax designation. So we're going to talk about S corporations. So S corporations were made for when corporations want to be smaller. They realize the government that sometimes you want the benefits of being able to raise capital, you want the benefits of only being liable to your shares, but you're not a multi-million-dollar company, you're not running at full steam, and you're going to want to limit your liability. You're going to want to limit your taxation. You don't want to pay double the taxes, and you want to keep running your business without having to pay double the taxes. That's really the main benefit of the S corporation. So like the C corporation, it has all of those benefits. The only thing is that it has certain limitations. And those limitations are why you get to only pay taxes once. So the government isn't gonna just let you pay taxes once and not limit you. So with the corporation, 1 million people can invest in your corporation. But with an S Corp, you're limited to 100 shareholders. And you're limited to one class of stock. So what that means is everyone in a S Corp gets paid the same way. Which with a C corporation, you normally can attract a lot of investors because you can have different types of stock that they get paid at different ways, and you can do a lot of nifty tricks to get some people paid more than other people because they're investing more. But with the S corporation, everyone has one class of stock. Also, who can invest in your S corporation is limited. So foreign nationals that aren't permanent residents can't invest in the corporation. Other corporations cannot be part of your S corp. So they can't have shares in your S corp. It has to be a human being to have the shares in an S corp. So it limits kind of how you can raise money and who can invest in your company, but it's often a great tool when you're gonna want multiple investors. Instead of having 10 members who can all dictate what happens, you have a corporation with bylaws on how they're run. You have a CEO, probably yourself if you're starting it. So you're really the one managing and running the business, and you're just taking in everybody's money, giving them reports, letting them know. And obviously, if you wanna have investors and you wanna keep your price at where you want to keep it, you're going to want to keep those investors happy, which means you're going to have to make them money. But the S Corp is a great way to be able to scale to a certain level and then be able to also enjoy the protections of not having to pay double the taxes and the protections of limiting your liability. So definitely something you might want to look into. And then we've gone through the general partnerships, the limited partnerships, the S Corp, and now we're just going to talk about what you need. You know, when you go to get your company started, whether it's an S corp, whether it's an LLC, whether it's a corporation, there's paperwork that you're going to have to get involved. There's paperwork that your lawyer's going to draft. There's stuff that needs to be filed with the state, and then there's also things that you're going to want because you're going to go open a bank account, and then the banker's going to tell you you need this, this, and this, and you're going to be like, I don't have any of that information, and you're going to go to the person that started the first thing. They're like, you just hired me to do this. So what a lot of business attorneys will do, they'll give you a package. So you can price it out as a separate thing, or they'll just say, I'm gonna give you everything you need so that so you don't have any headaches, and a lot of times as a business person, that's something you don't want. But these are some of the things that you're gonna wanna have. Obviously, if you're a single member LLC, you don't need an operating agreement. When you go to the bank and they tell you it, you can just look them really in the eye and tell them, who am I gonna be agreeing with? I've done it a couple times, and then they just look at me like, but it's just in their policy, so they're going to ask you for an operating agreement because it's an LLC, but you don't need an operating agreement if you're a single member LLC, because an agreement means that two people are agreeing on something. If you're the only person, there's no one to agree with, so you don't need an operating agreement. So please don't ask that. So now that we know how to structure your business legally, you're going to go somewhere, they're going to tailor it to you, you're going to start an entity, now your assets are protected. But that's not the only thing in laying a foundation for your business. That's going to be the bedrock of how your business is legally, but you're definitely going to want to do a business plan. A business plan is very important for your business because as George said, later he started moving things and said, oh, I need to do this now, I need to do that now. That's great, and you can roll with the punches and you can learn, but when you do a business plan ahead of time, you know what you're getting into. And you can be able to make a decision on to whether that business is viable. A lot of times we have ideas, they're cool ideas, they might get your friends excited, but when you put pen to paper and you start crunching the numbers, you see that it's a great idea, but they don't make no money. And at the end of the day, you get into business to make money. You might have businesses that are just a passion, and that's great when you have that kind of money, that you can just invest in a business because you want to do that business, that's great, but for most of us, you want that business to make you money, you want a return on investment, and that's where a business plan is going to come in. You're going to want to know what your expenses are. First, what your startup expenses are. Then you're going to know what your ongoing expenses are. Do we need to hire employees? How many employees are going to be able to handle what level of business? So all that you want to put into your business plan because you want to know exactly how much this is going to cost you. And you want to get this thing down to how much the paper is going to cost you for the printing, how much the ink is going to cost you, because that all becomes important. I have two businesses that are super print heavy. So I'm like Staples' favorite person, you know what I mean? They call me like, hey, Mr. Cepeda, how are you doing? Because I get shipments of paper and shipments of ink like it's no one's business. But you have to calculate all that. You have to calculate how much your business is gonna cost you to start, how much it's gonna cost you to run. Also, when you go to lenders, they're gonna evaluate your business plan. If you have a solid business plan, it's a lot easier to get a loan for your business than if you don't have a solid business plan. Because it's a couple things. One, they can see the numbers and they can see whether this is gonna click, whether this is gonna make work, or it's not. And that's important because they're gonna wanna know if their investment is safe. The second thing is, they're gonna know how much effort you put into this business. Are you willing to do your background check? Are you willing to check what the comps are, how much everything's gonna cost, how much everything's gonna run? Did you do your homework in starting this business, or did you one day wake up and was like, I had a great dream, this is gonna be dope, we're gonna start this business and we're gonna move it forward? That's not what you want. You want something that, you wanna invest in a person who takes the time to see what's actually going on in the business and know the ins and outs. When George was talking about marketing, part of your business plan is who you're going to target. You gotta know your demographic. If you're doing real estate in this area, you have to know how much your real estate sells for. What's a house in Reading gonna cost? How's a house in Berks County gonna cost? What's my commission off that if you're a real estate agent? Because then you know, you wanna get to that 20K number, you wanna get to the 30K number, you just wanna make 5K and just chill at the house. You gotta know how many deals you have to close. You gotta know who your target audience for that deal. And you gotta know what you're selling. So if you're a real estate agent, it's easy to say, I'm selling a house. But that's not really what you're selling. You're selling a house, but you're also selling a lifestyle. You're selling status. You're selling safety. You're selling comfort. You know what I mean? You buy a house because you want a place where your kids are gonna grow up. So if that's the person you're targeting, then you have to know. You gotta look at your school district. You gotta look at what the surrounding neighborhood is. You gotta look at a lot of different factors. And once you know what you're selling, you know how to sell to that person and who to target. Because if you put out advertising and you hit 1,000 people, and of those 1,000 people, only 50 people are interested, you're probably not even gonna get a sale out of that 1,000 people that you reach. And maybe you get 1 or 2. But if you reach 1,000 people and that 1,000 people are all people that wanna buy what you're selling, then the odds of you getting more people to buy what you're selling is bigger. So you gotta know who you're marketing, and you gotta know the environment of your marketing. You gotta understand your business. You gotta understand how many deals I'm gonna have to do. So if let's say you're running a taco stand, you gotta know how many tacos you have to sell in order to pay for the rent on that stand, pay for the materials, and make a profit so that you can pay your rent, pay your car payment, buy your kids clothes, all that stuff. So you need to be able to make that from the beginning, and that's why you need a business plan. You gotta both plan for success, which means you gotta know what you need, what it will cost, and you also have to know who you're selling and who you're marketing to. So this will give you a little bit of information on kind of how you need to set that up, because it seems like something that you can do and something that it's obvious, like, okay, obviously I wanna know this, I'm gonna sell a car, I'll make 2 G's off each car, I'm gonna spend on that X amount in marketing to be able to get people to buy this. I'm gonna spend X amount on the fees that I get from the auction. I gotta pay so much in holding costs. I gotta pay the salesman this much. I gotta pay the office this much. I need to print this stuff, so I'm gonna have to get at least a box of paper a month. I'm gonna have to pay for the internet subscription. I have a CRM, so I need to now get a CRM. How much does that CRM cost me? I'm gonna invest in all these kind of different things, but I need to know what they all cost if I need to know if this is gonna make money, because at the end of the day, if you have a company that makes $100,000 in revenue, but it costs you $80,000 to run it, you're only making $20,000. If you have a company that makes $60,000, but it costs you $10,000 to run it, you're making $50,000. So who's really more successful? The company that's bringing in $100,000 in revenue, you're only keeping 20 grand, or the company that's bringing in $60,000 in revenue, you're keeping 50 grand. You're probably gonna work less for that 50 grand if you're gonna work for that 20 grand in the company that's bringing in $100,000 in revenue, because you're gonna be doing so much more business. So that's where a business plan comes in. You get to know where you wanna be. Because your goal at the end of the day is how much money you wanna make and how much time do you wanna invest in that company. There's people who have companies that make a ton of money and they only invest a little bit of time in it. There's people that have companies that only make enough to pay the rent and invest 80 hours a week in it. So you need to know what your lifestyle goals are, what you want to do with this company, who you're selling to, what the numbers actually are, so that you can know whether that investment is an investment you want to be in. Because sometimes investments are great investments, but you just don't want to do it. like George was saying with the cold calling, there's certain things you just don't want to do. There's certain business, not all money is good money, and sometimes that you're thinking, okay, I have to spend 50 hours a week to make this 10 grand a month. I can't do it. I can't spend that much time to make that much money a month. It's just not, I'm not gonna be able to see my kids, or I'm not gonna be able to go to their games. I got too much going on in my life. So that's why it's different for every person. That's why your business plan, you gotta be honest with yourself. So like at the beginning of this presentation, when Andy was like, where do you wanna be in your real estate business in 1 year? Where do you wanna be in your real estate business in 5 years? Well, you need to know that. You need to be honest with that. And that's why you probably didn't have to share it with anyone, because the only person you always, well, you should be honest with everybody, but the only person that you definitely need to be honest with 100% of your life is you. You gotta know where you wanna be, what you're willing to do, and what you're not willing to do. Because that's really what's gonna go into your quality of life. And businesses are about making money, but you need to control your business so it doesn't ruin your quality of life. A business can make you a ton of money, but it can ruin how you live your life. You can't see your kids, you can't hang out with your friends, you can't do the things you wanna do. Yeah, it's paying your rent, but is that really living? At the end of the day, you want to live, you want to be able to enjoy life, because that's what life is about. And if that's how you're running your life, then you're not living the way you want to live. So part of that is understanding the market, understanding who you're selling, what you're selling, and what you need to do moving forward. And that'll help you get to where you want to be. So I think at this point, we'll just move into question and answer. The rest of the presentation is on the handouts I gave you. It's basically just about how to do a budget and things that I've basically already talked about, going through deep in your budget so that you understand every expenditure, understand how much money you're keeping off every transaction. Because if you're making 10 grand per transaction, or 2 grand per transaction, or 3 grand per transaction, and costing you a grand, you gotta know what your actual profit is, because that's where we live. It's how much you can keep, not how much you can make. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask.
With the LLC, you said it like protects your personal assets and stuff. Does that include your credit? Like your personal?
Yeah, the LLC will end up being a separate person. So at the beginning, you might have to, certain people might make you sign like a personal guarantee or something like that for a lot of things when you start an LLC, but little by little you build up that company's credit. So it's like a baby, and once that company's credit is there, it no longer touches your credit. But also, and I think it's more of the question you were asking, if something happens with the company, let's say the company, you started the company, it was great, and then 8 months later it went defunct, and now you're on the hook for a lease. If you didn't sign a personal guarantee on that lease, that doesn't affect your credit. They can't go after you, they can't put that on your credit. If you have a company credit card and you don't have a personal guarantee on that credit card, that only affects that company, because it's a separate, different person. And that's where it's different from a sole proprietorship or a partnership, where you have personal liability. Those still affect your personal credit. Those still affect your assets. LLC, a S Corp, C Corp, they're not gonna touch you personally, because they're a whole different person. You're like, that's not me, that's him. And that's how it is. Jaime?
How important is it to have a lawyer maybe be involved in the early steps of all of this, so that people understand maybe the right way to get into the right type of leases, like you said, with the sureties and things like that? Those are things that tend to pop up in the process, and people get excited maybe about getting into those things, but might not necessarily understand that. Do you recommend it's important that after you form the LLC that you stay in communication with your lawyer and kind of oversee that growth?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of business lawyers, what they do is they have a book of business. They have clients that keep being their clients. And that could be, some people do it because you have the attorney on retainer. Sometimes it's just, I've created a relationship with you, and every time you call, I'm gonna pick up because I created a relationship with you, or someone in my office is gonna pick up, and then we're gonna set it up. But it's important to have them look through all that contractual paperwork, to have them draft that paperwork, and to let you know what your risks really are. Sometimes you get something and you're like, oh, this sounds great, I wanna move on this business, I wanna do it now, and that's amazing. But then when someone reads the paperwork, they're like, oh, page 13, bro, you gotta sit down. If this happens, you're gonna be on the hook for all this. Or if this happens, you're gonna lose this part of your investment. And that's a lot of times where people were like, oh man, I got screwed in that business. Oh man, I lost my shirt in that business. What happens is, you start the business, you start getting these contracts, and you don't have someone that can look at the contract. And a lot of times that happens, people do stuff on the internet. They're like, oh, I'm gonna get this, me and Juan wanna start a business, we're gonna get this operating agreement, and we're gonna from an online one and it works for everybody else, and then you see that that agreement was actually made with laws from California, which is where that company's based from, or that agreement was made and it's not tailored to the agreement that you have with him. So later on, he does something you don't like, and you're like, you can't do that. And he's like, well, where does it say I can't do that? And that operating agreement they covered because no one thought of that because you didn't get something that was tailored to you. Right?
What's the importance of creating multiple LLCs as you're investing? Or what is the benefit of creating multiple LLCs per business or per a certain amount of properties or a specific property?
Well, it depends on what your business is. If you're an investor, let's say you're doing flips, you definitely want to have your flips and your holds in two different companies. I like to have my holds, each one in a separate company because I don't have any props up here, but it's like, let's say there's boxes, right? You have two boxes. There's no strings around the boxes, so there's nothing connecting the two boxes. So if one box gets crushed, the other box is still here. It's still going, it's still good. And that's how you want to think about that with creating multiple LLCs, especially if you're having different property. So if something happens at 1200 Perky Holman Street, on my property there, let's say someone fell, I got sued, it was my bad, step was cracked, I never fixed it. And I got sued, that company goes down, they go after me, they go after the equity on that house, but that's where it stops. They don't go after my personal stuff. And they also can't go after my other properties in my portfolio because those are owned by different entities. They have no connection to each other. As long as we have different bank accounts, as long as we do the corporate formalities, you can't touch one. So it ends up being a shell game. You have 13, 14 different properties, you have 13, 14 different companies, but only one can go down at a time. The same thing with your businesses. Don't put multiple businesses on one LLC because then both businesses are tied to each other. So if one thing happens with one business, you go down on your other business. Let's say you have one business and it's just not functioning. You're losing money on it, so you're like, I'm gonna close that. Now you owe rent for the next 2 years or 3 years on your corporate lease, and they're like, bro, you owe me $40,000. Where's that money? And then you have another business, and that business is doing great. You got money in the bank, that business is taking care of your lifestyle, but you have them all both on the same company. Now that business has to pay the $40,000 for the other business because you didn't make them a separate entity. If they're separate, you're like, I ain't got it. That business ain't got it, I ain't got it. That business it is what it is. That's the person you did business with. You didn't do business with me, you did business with that entity. And lenders know that. Lenders, if they see that it's a defunct LLC that doesn't have any assets in it, they're not even gonna waste their time on an attorney to go after you because they know there's not gonna be anything to get there. And that's what you wanna do. You wanna, especially with properties, you wanna keep all your properties settled because you don't know what can happen to one property. So it's about making sure that your life isn't a domino set. You know how you can put the dominoes and you hit one blow, the dominoes fall. You don't want to be in that situation. You don't want all your companies to fall. You don't want all your streams of income to go down because of one thing that happens. And that's really the protection that you want. You want to protect both your personal liability, but you want to protect your businesses, each one from the other. And that's why you would want to separate them, especially if you're an investor. Any other questions? Amen.
Say if I get my first property and I get an LLC with it and it goes bad, am I responsible for that? You know, I'm just starting off, or do I get a couple properties and the risk goes down as I get more?
So you're saying you get one property,
Yeah, like just starting, I get a property.
and you have it under an LLC,
Yeah.
and something happens at the property,
Does that LLC protect me in the beginning? Like,
yeah, the LLC is always going to, the minute you form it, that becomes a separate person.
Gotcha.
So as long as you're not commingling your funds, as long as that LLC has its own separate bank account, as long as you're not using that LLC's card when you're going to buy your groceries or buying your like toilet paper and stuff like that for your house, and they can say this is not just made as in order to deduct liability, this is made as a separate entity, its books are run separately, everything like that. You write checks to yourself from that company, you deposit from that company into your personal bank account when you need your money, but you don't use that company's card, you don't commingle your assets, you maintain your complete protection then, and then you don't have to worry about it, because if that goes bad, even on the first property, it's just that LLC, that died, you're still alive, you're good, your money's good, and that's how you wanna do it.
So what do you recommend on like how many properties? You mean like one property per LLC kind of thing?
Everyone does it different. Some people put all their holds in one property, or other flips through another company. I'm very risk adverse. I like to keep the stuff I got a lot of nice things, and I don't want to lose them. So I like to do one for each. It's more work. I'm not gonna lie. When you're doing your books, you gotta have different spreadsheets for everything, different programs running everything, because you're running a different business for each property. But at the end of the day, no one can attack more than one of your properties at a time.
If it's like, say if you have multiple like rental properties under an LLC and like that specific property was the issue, like can't you like just target that specific property, like, you know, like court case, like that kind of thing, they can't?
It's like if you own a lot of things and I'm suing you, I'm going after everything you own. So if I'm suing that company, I'm going after everything that company owns. So if you have 5 properties in that company, and one property was the issue, I'm not settling under one property. I lost my leg, or I lost some time from work, or whatever the lawyer comes up with why they're gonna sue you and come after your money, they're gonna come after everything you have, which means they're gonna come after everything that company has. And in discovery, they're gonna ask for your documents to see if they can pierce that corporate veil. At least if they have a good attorney, they're gonna try. But that's why you have to keep your stuff separate, and you have to separate your businesses or your assets each in a different company, and then you don't have to worry about it. You go after that company, go ahead, take it. I lost that property, it hurt me, but I didn't lose my entire portfolio because of one bad thing that happened, and that's where you wanna be.
So, my question is, so will you be talking about, there's like 2 types of LLCs, one that you can flip and one that you keep. So if you were to have the flippable LLC, are you talking about, or will you be talking about,
He's just
what?
talking about the use of the LLCs.
What, I have a different question. Are you talking about, are you gonna talk about the situation you can, or what type of situation to use when you're using that type of LLC, the one that's not connected to your bank account?
Well, no, all LLC is just one type. You use it for different things. So like, I have an LLC where I have properties that I hold. And like I said, one for each property that you hold. But you have one LLC that's properties that you hold. It's the same business structure, it's just a different business. So what you wanna do is like, if I have LLC 1 and LLC 2, it doesn't matter if I use it for the same thing or I use it for different things. I just wanna protect my properties. So the only difference is LLC 1 has to have its own separate bank account, its own separate bookkeeping. LLC 2 has to have its own separate bank account, its own separate bookkeeping. So that's why I said it's more work. You have to keep track of more things. But at the end of the day, your assets are protected, and if something goes wrong, you don't have to worry about it. So the one that flips can be one LLC, and you can run all your flips through there if you want, and you can have another one for your holds, but as long as they have separate bank accounts, separate bookkeeping, as long as you're not co-mingling the stuff, one can't touch the other. Something goes back on a flip, a contractor leaves a nail up and someone steps on that nail and now you gotta pay for someone's foot surgery, that's not touching your whole properties. That's only touching the one that you're running the flips, and if you only run one flip through there at a time, then it's not really touching it. And that's kind of what you wanna do. You wanna limit your liability as much as possible so that you can keep more money and you can spend that on you and your family and enjoying life the way you wanna enjoy life. Thank you, and I'll be back.